Hello there, and welcome to the 76th episode of the Retrotopia podcast. My name's Alan, and today Sam and myself, we are spoiling you because for the first time in Retrotopia history, we are taking on two games at once. That's right, you get two games for the price of, none. So we are talking about the Sega Genesis or Mega Drive games, Taz-Mania and Taz in Escape from Mars. And I'm just going to stop there. And just this whole thing of me having to sort of say Mega Drive, Genesis every time, just curse my Britishness. I'm not going to do it anymore. I think I'm just going to call it the Sega Megasys. Yeah, the Sega Megasys. That'll do. Yes, so Sam and we are talking about Taz-Mania and Taz in Escape from Mars, two games featuring everyone's favourite Looney Tune, that chaotic ball of dickhead energy that is Taz, and see how it goes. Should be a fun time. If you are only here for said fun time, of course, then why not just spin on, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes and you'll get to the game chat itself. Before that, I am going to do some plugs. I have the privilege of talking to some of our lovely Patreons and a couple of other bits and pieces. Stick around, it's a fun time, you know. I can almost guarantee that you won't regret it. Not a guarantee. So, before we get to the meat of the matter, Linktree, socials, plugs, all of that good stuff. You can find all of our social medias at linktree/retrotopia. That's linktr.ee/retrotopia. Come find the social media of your preference. Like us, follow us, share us, interact with us, all of that good stuff. We'd really appreciate it. Tell your friends. Tell them to come along and join us, share us, like us, all of that good shit. We also have links to our Discord, which frankly is a wonderfully non toxic corner of the internet where a bunch of like minded nerds have come together to talk about literally anything and everything. And I'm not kidding when I say I love it in there. It's such a good time. So we'd like to have you in there as well because we're sure you're a good time. We also have links to our Patreon. I almost said PayPal then for some reason. That's a bit of a Freudian slip because unlike PayPal, our Patreon is free. You can join the free tier of our Patreon and enjoy extra shows like our mini review quick play episodes. You can listen to our gaming topic conversation retro bite show 15 days earlier with an extra topic tagged on for you delightful Patreons. You can vote in polls. You can comment in our 9-bit banter box. You can comment on the game that we're talking about and all of that. There is a paid tier, which for $2, that'll get you a shout out on the show. It will allow you to pick the game for a quick play and throw it at a hoist. Throw it at a hoist of your choice. Uh, throw it at a host of your choice, as well as commenting on Retrobytes and a bunch of other stuff. Go and have a look. You know, I'm too old to remember all of this stuff now. It's all on there. It's a good time. It's a good deal. So, speaking of Patreon comments, of course, we are now going to move on to a section which is both cultural and elegant, and culturally elegant. It's the 9-bit banter box. All right, so first up on the box is Mr. Fettuccine himself, Wildcard, who says, "You are turned into a Pokemon of your choosing, and you have to live out the rest of your days as that Pokemon. What Pokemon do you choose? And no, you can't pick Ditto." Ugh, who would pick Ditto? Jesus, everyone knows what goes on in that daycare, man. Like I am nobody's fleshlight. God, that was awful. What Pokemon would I be? I mean, I'm gonna pick from like Gen 1, I think, because it's the one I know the most. And I was thinking, you know, Machoke, because I'd like to be jacked as fuck. That would be cool. Actually, I'm not just gonna pick from Gen 1, because I think Celebi I think that's how you say it. Legendary Pokemon. Fucks with time, and as we all know, I am a Time Lord in my spare time. But no, I don't think I'm as cool as either of those. Do you know what Pokemon, and it may be a cliche choice, but the Pokemon I think I relate to the most has got to be Snorlax, because I too like to sleep as much as possible, waking only to eat my body weight in food. And that is the life that I would like to live. It's the dream. So I'm gonna live out the rest of my days as Snorlax and just be the chillest guy on. And if I were clever, I'd say Route whatever it was, but I can't remember what route he's asleep on. So, and don't come at me with your fucking flute as well. Leave me asleep. Thank you, Wildcard. Next up, we've got Fallen Snow Kiku, and she says, with these being Looney Tunes games, what are your favourite Looney Tunes shorts, characters, etc.? Great question. I love the Looney Tunes, so this is pretty difficult. I would have to say, I'm a big Bugs Bunny guy. You know, I love the just pure chaos and mischievous dickheadery that always seems to happen when Bugs Bunny is around. I'm a big Daffy Duck fan as well, because he's just so angry all the time. Sam and I were, I shared this the other night actually while we were talking. One of my favourites has got to be the Duck Dodgers. Is it Duck Dodgers in the 23rd and a half century or whatever it is? Just the ones where he's in space just sticking it to Marvin the Martian, who is another character that I really, really like. So the Duck Dodgers shorts are I love. Anything with Bugs Bunny and Elmer Fudd, I always appreciate. There's that one particular Bugs Bunny one as well where, you know, he's dressed as the girl bunny and on the horse and all the rest of it, and that's just, it's just hilarious. Good stuff. I miss the Looney Tunes, man. I mean, and I'm going to show my age, we just don't get them like we used to, do we? And that's a shame. Thank you, Kiku. So, Blame the Hoagie Man says, what is your guilty pleasure fast food you can't help but to love? Now, you see, Blaine, this is a tricky question because I do eat a lot of fast food and I don't ever really feel guilty about what food it is. I'm pretty non-discriminatory when it comes to my fast food. I love everything more or less equally. I think where it comes to guilty in the pleasure is just how much of it I eat. You know, I will put away a fair amount of Domino's pizza in one sitting, or you know, an unhealthy amount of Chinese takeaway in one sitting. So it's not so much what I eat, it's just how much of it I get. And I always just have that post fast food clarity where I'm just like, I mean, that was a good time, but I probably shouldn't have eaten that much. And I'm getting to the point now where I feel it the next day. I don't know, guilty pleasure fast food. I mean, maybe KFC? There's nothing wrong with KFC, don't get me wrong. It's just I have it so much that I'm starting to worry. I think I'm 90% like secret seasonings at this point. Thank you, Blaine. And Mr. Hooley says, Alan, how are you? I'm fine, Mr. Hooley. Thank you very much for asking. I was wondering, what is something that you just find baffling about American culture? No, I'm not going to go there. Not where you think I'm going to go. I'm not going for any of this stupid low-hanging fruit because I actually quite like Americans. There are quite a few things that you do that do baffle me. Like, one of the main things that I can think of off the top of my head is not having kettles and heating up tea in the microwave. As a fine, upstanding British gent, I find that baffling. It's just like, how do you get a proper boiled cup of tea? How do the leaves steep in what I can only imagine being a hot cup and fairly lukewarm water? Confusing. And what else? I'll ask you this, because I do watch a lot of TV, or at least I did back in the day, and this housing association thing where you have these neighborhoods and everyone is up your ass about how your house looks, how your garden looks, how things like that. I mean, is that really a thing? Because that, I can't fathom having somebody come to your door and just tell you, listen, your garden looks like shit, shape up or ship out. I mean, what the fuck? You know, I would put down my KFC bucket and give them what for if they tried that bullshit with me. Like, Jesus. Um, what else? You know, we've been over biscuits and gravy and things like that before. Jam being, what is it now? What we call jelly, you call jello, and what we call jam, you call jelly. So I guess for us, a PB and J is a peanut butter and jam. Yeah, so that confuses me every time because I never know what the fuck I'm talking about. Um, I'm sure there's more, but that's what I can think of off the top of my head. Delightful little quirks that just makes me love you bastards. Thank you, Mr. Hooley. All right, and that's it for the 9-Bit Banter Box. Thank you so much, everyone, for writing in. As always, I always love doing that section. I love seeing what questions you guys come up with. It just gives me a buzz. So, what have I been up to? What have I been playing? A fair amount, if I'm honest. I have been finally working my way through the remake of Silent Hill 2. I know I'm late to the party, but I am a big Silent Hill fan, especially Silent Hill 2, and this remake is tickling me in all the right ways, mostly terrifyingly, and I'm really enjoying that. I've really got into Fire Emblem for the Game Boy Advance, which I'm playing on the NSO, which again, it's really got its claws into me. That's for an upcoming episode of the show. Uh, oh, me and the missus, we're playing Split Fiction. That is our current co-op Odyssey game. And oh my God, like I loved, and I probably said this in the After Dark, but I loved It Takes Two. And Split Fiction is just everything I loved about that, just taken up by a good few degrees, actually. Like it's got that charm, but it's just so much more action packed. I recommend it to anyone who wants a good couch co-op game to play with someone. I cannot recommend it enough. Not very far in, but I can't see them dropping the ball with this strong a start to a game. I suppose it's possible, but it's unlikely. What else? Oh, well, I mean, I've been dabbling with my newest pickup. That's right. I finally got hold of a Sega Saturn, my white whale for the year, and playing a little bit of Sonic R, which is a game that I have huge nostalgic ties for. Maybe I'll do a quick play on that at some point. The only problem is that the internal battery on the Sega Saturn, I think the battery's dead, so it can't save, which is fine. It's just one of those little button batteries that I need to pop out of the console, which is very easy to do, and just pop a new one in. I've got them up there, I just haven't got around to doing it. So once that's done, I will be Sonic racing to my heart's content. And I think that's just about everything because I'm not playing either Taz game anymore because I've beaten those and I'm ready to talk about them. Of course, before we do that, we have to hand it over to myself for a little bit of self-fellatio with the Gentleman's Interlude.
In the vast, ever-evolving landscape of video games, there have emerged some truly remarkable creations, each an artifact of human ingenuity, and in some cases, the perfect blend of whimsy and adventure. Among these is the beloved Taz-Mania, a game that brings to life one of the most chaotic characters ever to grace the screen. Taz, the ferocious Tasmanian devil from the iconic Looney Tunes series. Released in 1992 for the Sega Mega Drive and Genesis, Taz-Mania was developed by a little-known team within the vast ecosystem of Sega's development studios. The game was produced by Recreational Brainware, a company known for its ability to craft vibrant, dynamic worlds that captured the essence of the characters they represented. Taz-Mania was an action platformer that allowed players to step into the spinning shoes of Taz, controlling his rampaging, dizzying movements as he scurried through lush jungles, perilous caves, and enemy-laden landscapes. The game's mechanics were simple but effective. Taz's uncontrollable spinning served as both his attack and movement technique, allowing him to barrel through obstacles in the most chaotic and entertaining manner. One cannot help but feel the exhilarating thrill of each level as Taz, in all his wild, unstoppable glory, wreaks havoc upon the environment. This was a reflection of the spirit of Looney Tunes, where exaggerated action and non-stop energy were the order of the day. The game's release coincided with the growing popularity of platformers in the early 90s, and its light-hearted nature made it both accessible and enjoyable for players of all ages. But as the years passed, another chapter in the saga of Taz was to unfold. Enter Taz in Escape from Mars, a sequel released in 1994. This title was this time developed by Head Games. Here, Taz found himself stranded on the Red Planet, attempting to escape from a Martian labyrinth in a game that fused platforming elements with puzzle solving. The game was released for the Sega Mega Drive, as well as the Sega Game Gear, providing a new challenge for players who relished the unpredictability of Taz's character in an entirely new setting. In Taz in Escape from Mars, players would guide Taz through a series of alien and terrestrial landscapes, avoiding obstacles, outsmarting enemies, and employing the wild spin attack that has defined his nature. The game's atmosphere was distinctly science fiction, a departure from the earthy tones of its predecessor, and the Martian setting added an intriguing layer of novelty. Released in the mid-90s, it stood as a testament to the growth of video games as a storytelling medium, though it never quite achieved the same widespread fame as its predecessor. Thus, Taz-Mania and Taz in Escape from Mars remain two distinct yet undeniably charming entries in the pantheon of 90s video game history, preserving the untamable energy of one of the most iconic animated characters to ever grace the screen.
I'll never be David Attenborough, no matter how much I try. So there you go. There's the gentleman's interlude. So before we get into the episode, our double feature episode itself, we like to hear what you guys think of the games that we're playing. And look, I don't think many people played these games, so I'm not sure how this is going to land. Hopefully you enjoy it. But Fallen Snow Kiku says, being the daughter of two animation junkies, especially when it comes to Looney Tunes, I definitely had my fair share of those games growing up. These weren't among them. In fact, I'd never even heard of them up until now, but I hope they're good. My favourite one was one called Sheep Raider, otherwise known as Sheep, Dog, and Wolf in other territories. It was a decent, sorry, Kiku. It was a decent stealth puzzle game for PS1, though I haven't played it in over 20 years. I have a lot of fond memories of it. Um, yeah, I mean, I agree. I love Looney Tunes myself, always did growing up. Sheepdog, do you know what? That game rings a bell. I'm just going to have a look and I'm going to do this on air because I am a professional. But that Sheepdog and Wolf, I think I have it on my wish list saved. I must have heard it was a good game. Yeah, yeah, I do. I have that saved. I must have like come across an article that said it was a good game, so I just chucked it on the wish list. I'm glad to hear you like it. I know you, Kiku. I know you have some good choice, good tastes in video games. So I'm going to trust you on that one, and I'm going to go ahead and pick that up. maybe, ooh, you never know. You never know. Maybe I'll talk about it one day on the show. We'll see. We'll see. Thanks, Kiku. The Big Deal says, I didn't play much of this one. Ah, so you played some of it. I didn't play much of this one, but enjoyed the fuck out of Desert Demolition with Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner. The 16-bit Looney Tunes and Tiny Toon games of this era were fire. Yes, they were. Obviously, we have spoke about Tiny Toon Adventures on the show previously. That's an incredible game. Uh, yeah, do you know what I mean? They just translate so well over to video games, don't they? Because, I mean, it's Looney Tunes. They don't have to make a lot of sense. You just have to do what the Looney Tunes do. And that's just, again, pure chaos. So I've not played this Desert Demolition. I'm gonna have to look that up, see if we got that one over here. I've not heard of it, but I will, if I can get hold of a copy, maybe I'll add that to my collection as well, because I do like these type of games. Great stuff. Thanks, big deal. Blaine the Hoagie Man says, so I don't really remember much about Escape from Mars itself, but I'll always have the memory of staying at my one friend's house overnight, eating waffle crisp cereal, and staying up all night playing this game. Unfortunately, this friend succumbed to his demons and is no longer with us, but I'll always at least remember this. Sometimes we're reminded of our lost childhood innocence. Fucking A, Blaine. Ain't that the truth? And you know, my condolences to your for your lost friend. That sucks, man. I'm really sorry to hear it. But perhaps pick up Escape from Mars and have a go and just reminisce about the good times. Because that's what video games do, especially retro video games. They just provide a window back to an easier time, don't they? And I'm not sure what this waffle crisp cereal is, but color me intrigued. That sounds delicious. Thank you, Blaine. And Mr. Hooley says Taz is the best Looney Tune. Wish I would have had these as a kid. I was obsessed with that guy. Uh Taz is a good Looney Tune. Not my favorite, but he's a lot of people's favorite. And well, Mr. Hooley, you're about to find out exactly what these games are all about. So thanks everyone, as always, for writing in. Keep doing so. We'll keep reading them. But now it's time for our double feature, Taz-Mania and Taz in Escape from Mars. So make sure to eat everything you come across except for the bombs, of course, and come take a spin with us as me and Sam talk about Taz-Mania and Taz and Escape from Mars, released on the Sega Megasys in 1992 and 1994 respectively. Thanks for listening, guys. Enjoy the show. Okay, and we're back to talk a little bit, well, not just a little bit, a lot of Taz-Mania, because it's, I think, a first time double header appearance on Retrotopia.
Yeah.
With with me fresh from the Acme factory is my good friend first, co-host second, Sam. Sam, how
Oh,
are
that was
you?
a sweet introduction. Thank you. Um,
You're very welcome.
yeah, I'd say this is our first double feature. I
Hey,
like
there
that.
you go.
I like this format. We should
Yeah.
find other like pairs of games like this and do it because that was actually a lot of fun. As we'll get into each game. If you haven't noticed by the title, we were talking or the introduction or the any of the other preamble, we're talking Taz-Mania for the Sega Genesis and Taz and Escape from Mars, also for the Sega Genesis.
That's right. And how did that come about, Sam? Because I seem to recall that I think you picked this game. Well, you picked Taz-Mania up
Yep.
on one of your adventures.
did.
And we both just kind of leapt on the idea. And then for some reason, we just thought, well, fuck it. We both like, or at least have experiences with Escape from Mars. Let's just do both at the same time.
Yeah, that's right. I think it was one of those weekends I had gone to the game shop and I had grabbed Taz-Mania for a very reasonable price, which may or may not become clear why that is when we get into talking about it. But yeah, it was funny because it was like, yeah, these games were good. And I don't know if I had necessarily played Taz-Mania as a kid. It's the older of the two games, and we were talking about it. It's like, you know what game was fucking awesome was Escape from Mars. Yes, yeah. And so I think we both. It's like we have these weird little synchronicities in our lives where we're like brothers from another continent or whatever. Because you also had Escape from Mars as a kid, right?
Yes. Well, my first experience with Escape from Mars was actually playing it at my next door neighbor's house, and this is in my very, very first house in London-ish, and I distinctly remember we used to hop the fence and just go in there and play Taz Escape from Mars, and then I'd get it myself sort of later on. I don't recall ever getting very far with it though. And the same goes for Taz-Mania. It's just one of those games that Taz-Mania even less so. Yeah. I think I only recall like the first fucking level of that.
I don't think I really ever got very far in Escape from Mars. And hold on, first we have to go back because I have notes about your experience. So you went to play it at your neighbor's house with your friend, but you had to hop the fence. So I'm picturing you and your other like delinquent friend hopping a fence, and just it's not necessarily your friend's house that is the neighbor. You and a friend went to some neighbor's house, broke in and played Escape from Mars.
No. As long as you have no further incriminating questions, that's exactly what happened.
They're like, "Oi, what are you doing here? Get out, you lot!"
No, it was the proverbial we was me and my brother. And
gotcha. Okay.
The friend in question was the neighbor.
Good.
Okay. No illegal or otherwise activities going on. I'd save all of those for my adult years. So
you and your neighbor friend hop the fence at another neighbor's house to play. Got it. I love that. That is a great narrative.
That's law. That is law now. But yeah, I mean, I had a question for you actually, Sam. Where do you stand on Taz? Like, forget the games. Like, as a character in general, like him, hate him.
I like Taz. I liked the I kind of liked the chaos that he brings to his the Disney or not Disney, Jesus Christ. The Looney Tunes cartoons that he's in. He brings a level of chaos that I appreciate.
Give it time. They're buying everything else up, so.
You know what? I would welcome it because maybe they'd actually put them on somewhere. As HBO is, like we talked in the After Dark, HBO's been deleting shit left and right.
Yeah. Okay, that's a fair point.
I'd say, I don't know that I was the biggest fan of Taz-Mania because there was a show specifically I don't know if it was on Fox or the WB at the time, but there was a Taz-Mania show that was okay. But I really liked when Taz would appear in the odd Looney Tune cartoon and just bring his craziness.
Yeah, I agree, and it's weird because we used to watch that cartoon as well. I remember it in the same sort of block as your beloved Animaniacs and stuff like that. But
let's be clear, I like the show. The Super Nintendo game can just fuck off all the way off.
Yeah, that's fair. But that was a very weird show, right? It's like, what if Taz was in a sitcom?
Yeah.
And I never really understood why, you had this manic agent of chaos and then just a relatively normal family, all of whom talk normally, and the dad's a golfer and stuff like that. And it's just a little bit weird.
And you get in Taz-Mania, you get like a little cutscene to begin the game, right? Where it's like the Taz family with all the different Taz's. I don't know what their names
Yeah,
are,
I
but
have.
the one's wearing like a polo shirt and smoking a pipe.
I think the dad was called Hugh. I think the sister was called Molly or Holly. I think Molly.
Yeah.
And I think he had a little brother or something. I can't remember what his name was.
I did not get into
Um,
Taz-Mania as a television show. It was too weird.
no, it just having your main protagonist just been not talking, a silent protagonist. It just
Right. I mean,
mm,
he doesn't
it's
talk with words. He talks with his like gibberish and his spinning and his craziness. Like that's all it is.
which always works well, like with other characters to bounce off, like the other Looney Tunes. Like not a show all on his own.
Right. Like if you wanted to do it as a premise, like let's find out what would happen if Taz was like smart for a few minutes, like that episode of Sunny where Charlie like gets smart or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that I'm already laughing about it. That could be funny, but like just leave him dumb. He's just like a big dumb spinny guy. And
I have become quite weary.
yeah. Oh man.
Yeah, I don't know. Taz was kind of huge as a character back when we were growing up, and he seemed to be very popular with the slightly older generation more so than with the kids. I don't know what it is, but you know what I think? I genuinely think that if social media was a thing back when we were kids, Taz would be the character that all of our parents would be sharing, like those god awful Minions memes and things like that. It just seemed to, I don't know.
You think Taz would have been the Minions?
Even my dad. Yeah, for sure. I think like even my dad had a Taz tattoo. I don't know if he still got it, but
Oh, nice. I just remember, like because there was a weird in between time when like the Looney Tunes were more of a brand than a show. I mean, obviously they had plenty of shows on like TV and stuff, but like the actual like Looney Tunes shorts were shorts, and then there was you had those like Taz as a gangster with a backwards hat and is on like a jean jacket. That's fun.
Yeah.
Or like Tweety Bird on a t-shirt says like no fucks given or something like that.
So edgy. So edgy. Did you own one of those shirts, Sam? Come on, come clean.
No, I didn't. I don't even think I had like a Taz shirt, and Taz was like the one that was on all the t-shirts. I remember like no fear, but it was like a picture of Taz on it.
Yeah, because Taz was everybody's inner
right.
beast, wasn't he?
Yeah, unleash the beast.
Yeah.
It's like
unleash the
Taz.
beast.
But did you play? Now we've established that we have history with Escape from Mars. Did you play Taz-Mania?
I'm pretty sure that I played Escape from Mars first. Taz-Mania would come many, many years later. I can't remember the first time I played that game. But
Yeah.
It was one of those games that I sort of I didn't get far in Escape from Mars either, to be honest.
Right.
Like I remember the first level more than anything, and that's about it. But I feel like I didn't even get past the first section of Taz-Mania.
Yeah, let's get into.
And it's only with the recent it's only with the recent playthrough that I've seen any more of that game.
Yeah, let's get into that, because I mean we can
it.
talk about how annoyed I was at the beginning of this. Like I remember like we were
I was just saying, let's start with Taz-Mania and work our way through.
We'll talk about Taz-Mania first. We'll spend some time there, because it's funny, because like I do remember being aware of this, at least because and I've got a poster of it on my wall downstairs that came with one of my physical games that I got at the retro shop. But it had the poster that had like those like Sega promo posters that you would get that just had like screen captures of a lot of games, and Taz-Mania is on there. It's like, my God, they were promoting this as like Mickey Castle of Illusion, and you could play Sonic the Hedgehog, and you can play Taz-Mania and all that stuff. Like that was a draw.
Oh yeah, big time. I mean, this game, No, I saw this earlier. Like this game was actually a bestseller, at least over here for a couple of
Right.
months.
I don't, and it must have just been on name alone. Because if anyone like flipped this game on and played the first level, like this is fucking dog shit. Like, so basically, you really, I don't even know where to start because like a few weeks ago is when we started playing these games to prepare for this, and the first couple times I put this on, I was like, am I really not going to be able to get past the first level? Not even the first level. The first sequence of the first level is some quicksand
Mm.
that I don't know if maybe my controller's old or my thumbs are old or some combination of the two, but I could not for the life of me hit the jump button fast enough to keep myself above this quicksand, and I was just dying constantly.
Yeah, yeah. So you start off in the
Yeah.
desert, of course, and I'm going to give that one to your controller because when I played this, I didn't really have any trouble with the quicksand.
Hmm.
Like I was able to jump out of it. So I'm gonna chalk that one up. I know a good workman never blames the tools, but in this case,
Well,
I think you've got an
when
argument
the
there.
tools are pushing like 35, 40 years old, maybe we can blame the tools because like they're all like I played it
I
on
mean,
original hardware.
I am a tool who has gone past 40 years
Yeah.
old, and you can blame me for whatever the fuck you like.
So
Uh,
yeah.
but yeah, so I mean, we should probably set the stage because this. I mean, let's get story out of the
Yeah.
way, such
Oh,
as it
sure.
is.
Yes.
Uh, yeah. So whatever. Hugh fucking Tasmanian Devil is basically telling everyone in the family a story about these mythological birds that used to exist that had giant eggs that could feed an entire family for a year or
Yep.
whatever. And that's enough for Taz. He's off. He's spinning off into the distance, and that's where the game begins. And that is both the beginning and the end of the story of this game.
Basically, yeah. But in between all the levels, you have that kind of cartoony, um, almost like Indiana Jones style, like dotted line traveling between different areas. So I mean,
Yeah,
there's that. I mean, I guess that adds to the story. You're traveling all around the island of Tasmania trying to find this bird.
sure.
Right.
Um, the thing is, I mean, when you actually look at the map that you traverse, you basically start off on the left side of the map, work your way around the entire island to get back to the left side of the map to head to the island that's off of the left side of the
Right.
map in order to go and get the so Taz, bless him, not blessed in the brain department, literally goes all over this island just to more or less end up a few, I don't know, miles or so from where he started. Good going.
Yeah, that's. I mean,
So,
it's the traveling equivalent of just spinning around at random and seeing where you go, which is very Taz of him, I suppose.
absolutely, and his main basic move in this game.
Is spinning.
Yeah, yeah. So they got that. They got that down. Like
What did you
that is what you want to do in a Taz
What did
game.
you think of the spin mechanic in this game? Because it
I
was
I mean,
yeah, you could pretty much kill
go on.
anything with it, including the good items. Like you
Oh
can
yeah,
if you accidentally hit one of the like you can there's a number of different like food items and there's like a bottle of water or whatever that all gives you health. There's little squares with Taz's face on them and either a 1 or a 3 and the um ones are lives and threes are continues. If you hit any of that stuff,
yeah,
it just goes away. Like it flies off the screen.
yeah. Which on one hand is incredibly frustrating, but on the other hand, it's just like I get it.
Yeah.
Like as a mechanic, I don't hate it because otherwise you're just not paying attention. And I like that they sort of put that in there. They're just like, well, if you're just gonna spin around like an arsehole for the entire
We're
thing,
gonna punish you for it.
we're gonna punish you for it. But no, I mean spinning. It's got to be in the game.
Right.
It's Taz's whole thing, and it works really well. I mean, you can get yourself into more trouble than you avoid
Yeah, if you're not
by
careful.
spinning. So
Um,
sure, because you do
yeah.
build up some momentum with that thing.
I really wish you could spin across the the quicksand. Like if you're spinning, wouldn't you rise to the top? You would think just by like centrifugal force or whatever, but I'm really annoyed by this quicksand. There are a couple of things that actually it's a good thing I have this, but I have a Sega Megafire controller, one of those ones that have the turbo switches on them. And without those turbo switches, I would not have gotten past the second set of quicksand. The first
so
I just flipped the switch.
You put on the auto fire. Yep. Nice.
Yep. And the first one I avoided because there are these like jets of water that you can ride up if you jump on top of them. And once it reaches its height, I just jumped and then waited for like the apex of the jump and then did the spin move, and I would shoot myself basically all the way across the first set of quicksand.
Oh yeah, because that spin can literally just like carry you across.
Yeah. And
like large parts of the level, because you do get some momentum even off of a jump.
Right. Yeah. So
which is nice.
So that's the Badlands. There's not really too much here that, there's the second level is kind of a maze, I guess, a little bit. You're kind of some basic platforming. Luckily, the quicksand only shows up in the first level. There's a boss that's like a truck for some reason.
Yeah, I mean, again, like I don't remember all of the characters. There's a couple of dudes driving this truck around, and so you just got to jump and spin into them. Which,
right?
What else are you going to do? That's how you take out any boss in this game.
Yeah, something I liked about this game that wasn't in Escape from Mars is that you could attack enemies either by jumping on them or by spinning at them, or some combination of the two. So it was a little bit more forgiving that way.
You see, I didn't notice that, but you're right.
Yeah, if you try to jump on a enemy in Escape from Mars, you just get hurt.
Oh yeah, you get hurt.
By everything.
Everything in Escape from Mars. We'll get there. We'll get there. But Jesus,
and then
this game is no more forgiving.
It's unforgiving in a different way, I'd say. Where Escape from Mars felt like I was just like, oh gosh, is there a GIF like a is it like a Simpsons one where you just like walk a couple steps, fall down, walk a couple steps, fall down? That's what that felt like in Escape from Mars. Whereas I felt like in Taz-Mania, I could kind of control things just a little bit better.
Yeah, I think. I mean, we're all over the place with this one, but we're talking about two games. We've never done this before.
And they do beg compare. They need to be compared.
Give us a fucking break.
Yeah.
Of course. But I just find that Taz-Mania was difficult by omission, and Escape from Mars was difficult by design.
Okay, yeah, that's a good way to put it. And
that was because the levels, and if we're talking about the levels, let's talk about the level design, because I sort of found that the level design in Taz-Mania was not necessarily unfinished, but it felt very haphazard.
Yeah, there would be just kind of
you know what I mean?
Random mechanics that you had to account for that you wouldn't find anywhere else in the game.
That's that random. It felt like it was a random map generator.
Right, and like some of them were really clever, but it was just like, without some trial and error or just like a little bit of observation. Like if I wasn't I guess, gosh, I don't want to sound like an asshole here, but like if we weren't like mildly intelligent people and we were playing this game, like how would you figure out how to do some of this like arbitrary shit that they have in there? Like I'm thinking about the factory level where I think it's the second factory level, you're on a conveyor belt, and if you don't hit the right switches to turn off the conveyor belt, and it doesn't give you like a chime or anything to tell you that you've done it correctly, and you try to proceed through these tunnels or whatever, you'll get electrocuted. So you have to, and then there's like a sequence of 3 different sets of handles, and they're progressively, there's more of them, and you have to decide which one's the correct one. And if you hit the wrong handle, you get zapped again. So like it's just a lot of trial and error. And eventually it was like, oh, I can finish this level in like a minute because I know exactly which handles to pull
Yeah.
and the way to go through it. And once you know that, it's no problem. But getting there is a lot of trial and error.
Yeah, and I think the we'll call it the second world, which is the factory level. Like I think they realized that it's just a jumbled maze. It's just a mess because they had to have put those arrows in after the fact.
Yeah.
Like I'm
Oh
convinced of it
yeah.
because there are arrows around the like on the walls of the factory that tell you which way to go, and like it took me a minute to realize that's what they were
Yeah.
doing. But I have to believe that somebody was playing this is just like I have no fucking idea where I'm supposed
Where
to
do you
go.
expect me to go? Because then also they wanted you to platform in multiple directions. Like they wanted you to be able to go back and forth and up and down, throughout, basically
Yeah.
kind of explore. But yeah, there were points where like you had to jump down off of a platform onto one below it. So you have to, I mean, that's a pretty common, mechanic for some games is like, okay, you want to jump down, you have to press down and jump, and then he'll hop, your
Yeah.
character will hop down. But that's not present in every game. And so if you don't know that, or there's not arrows
No.
there to say like you have to go down here, like you wouldn't know what to jump on or what's a platform or what you can jump through. Like you couldn't jump down off of everything. Um,
Which becomes a big problem later on in the game, and we'll
Oh,
get
yeah.
there. But fuck me. But and it's like very busy as well.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on. Like you can't fault them for like the design of the game, which I do genuinely think is very,
Oh
very
yeah,
good.
graphically it
But
looks great too.
that oh, I don't. For better or worse, I don't think we've played a game on this show that was based on a cartoon that didn't at least look fantastic.
Yeah, I'm thinking. I mean, Animaniacs, for all of its flaws, looked good. Buster Bust
Mm-hmm.
Loose, we played that game looked fantastic.
Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah, these guys knew what they were doing when they were licensing out. A lot of it was Konami, but like not all of them. But like these weren't Konami. I
No,
can't remember who
this
made
was
this, but
who the fuck was this? This recreational brainware.
okay, yeah, but it's got like, I mean, it had the really,
You know him.
it had the really like, I mean, it was very Sega branded. These games, these licensed games like this, did not look so. Like I don't know how to explain it. Like I'm looking at the manual now because I've got Taz-Mania box and manual and everything, and it looks very Sega branded. It's got that black grid design and the silver Genesis logo on the top. Like it was very much a Sega game through and through. The cartridge has the label on it that looks very, very Sega Genesis. So that was interesting to me, I guess. Like it must have been like, we want to make this game and release it on the Sega, and Sega's going to put their name all over it. They're basically like the dev, or they're the publisher, so they're going to put their gold Sega seal of approval on everything, kind of like how Nintendo does and all that kind of stuff. They made this very Sega branded.
Oh yeah, sure. And they put a lot of effort into how it looks and how it presents itself. I mean, compared to you look at Taz-Mania and then you compare. I mean, because this game did come out on the Master System as well, and it's got to be the best looking case on the Master System at least, because some of those games just look like absolute shit.
Yeah.
But they threw some effort behind the design of this thing. Did recreational brainware know how to make a good platformer? TBD.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about that. So yeah, we've had the factory. What came after the? Because another thing that I noticed about this game is that the levels are not only very sporadic, they are hitting all of those video game tropes.
Yeah.
You've got your
jungle.
Yeah, desert, industrial.
Yep.
So yes, what is it? Is the jungle next?
The jungle's
or...
next, but the thing is that they there's like a jungle level and then an ice level and then back, then the mine, and then you're back to the jungle for a little bit, and then you go forward. It's like it hops around a little bit.
Yeah, sure. I think you've got the ice level, the jungle level, the mines, and then they were just like, we need an extra level. Let's go back to the
Yeah, we only
jungle.
did one of those
Why not?
jungle ones. Or a couple of jungle ones. Let's throw another jungle one in there. Yeah.
Yeah, we've already got the assets for it. Let's just pad this out a little bit more.
And it's the hardest one. It's the hardest jungle one. I mean, it's very possible to beat it, but it's definitely the mechanically the harder one, because on the jungle you had these like floating logs, and it tells, at least in the manual, it tells you how to play it, or like what kind of the rules are, is that if you want to jump up to a platform, you have to press up or down the direction that you want to come, like to the foreground or the background. So if you wanted to jump up onto like a little island in the river that had, like health on it or a life on it or something, you had to press up and jump. And then to get back down to the logs and then jump around on the logs, you had to press down and jump.
Sure. Yeah, which, I mean, I appreciate the fact that there are, because, this is the first of 2 of these log levels, and the first one is pretty generous and gets you used to the mechanic, because you'd better know how to do this by the time you get to the second time round, because like I fudged that second time round.
I did too, yeah.
I'll be honest with you.
And I think
did you okay, did you do the thing where you just fall into the water, bounce right up, spin as far as you can,
yes,
hope for the best, bounce off of the water?
Yeah, and you can skip like huge portions, and it doesn't, if you're playing on, there's a couple difficulties, and the only difference I could really see in the difficulty levels is that on the higher difficulty, when Taz gets hurt, he just takes a little more damage. So yeah, if you're playing on the higher difficulty and you don't have this log riding quite down, you're gonna land in the water and take quite a bit of damage probably. But if you're not, you're playing on easy, then you can use the falling in the water and getting temporary invincibility, and it launches you like all the way across the screen, and then you just spin, and it's like you could just cheese it.
Yeah. Oh, I did.
Yeah, I did too.
I cheesed it hard. And you know what, as well, that you're talking about the difficulty levels. There was no way I was playing this on hard.
No. I'm not going to do that.
But looking, when I was poking around at this game, do you know what one of the complaints about this game was?
From who? From me?
There was, and listen, I am quoting directly from the Wikipedia.
Okay, good.
But there was criticism on the game difficulty as being too easy.
Yes, I would say it was. Okay. Let's throw like a little asterisk on that, because yes, I'd say it's a pretty easy game. I mean, I finished it. And usually these games that are like, you call it like Genesis hard or NES hard or whatever, those games that you just have to play over and over and over again. I had trouble in certain spots, but I still finished it, and I did not finish Escape from Mars, and we can talk about that later. But I'd say it's probably a pretty easy game if I can beat it.
See, I mean, I don't know that I would call this game necessarily easy, because when I think easy, I think of something like a Kirby game.
Okay, yeah, Kirby's
something like that. I mean, this game does have some teeth, especially when you get to things like the mine level.
Fucking Jesus Christ, yes. But here's the thing. It's difficult until you figure out the exact, like, there's a trick to everything. It's not that you're taking, like, you have to take these kind of blind leaps.
Sure.
But, yeah, like, I don't know. I go back and forth. Because, you bring up the mine. Like, I was stuck on the mine for quite a bit because I couldn't get the timing down on the mine cart. So there's, I'm assuming most people haven't played this, but you're in a mine. It's kind of like, I mean, it's like a really, really crappy version of Donkey Kong Country mine carts, where
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
can control a little bit the speed. You can either speed up or slow down, and then you can either raise or lower the mine cart. So you have to use that to avoid obstacles, and they just like it keeps going, and it just goes so fast that and in the background it's like black on black, like the background and stuff. The mine was awful. That's probably the
Hmm.
worst
Hmm.
looking and worst playing levels in the whole game, is because you can't tell where anything is. Because and then like you're in the second mine. Sorry, I'm all over the place, but like you're in the second mine and there's black background, and then they throw like black bats at you. Like
Oh
what
yeah,
the
like
hell?
if you want to talk about a difficulty spike, I mean, this is where this game spikes.
Right.
I mean, I burnt through so many lives just figuring it out that I could raise that minecart. And again, the way you said like there is a trick to everything. Yeah, 100% sure, but knowing the trick for the mine level is half of the battle
Oh yeah.
because it still relies on reflexes that
Yes.
I no longer
Yeah, I
have.
really
I mean,
there's a spot where you have
I
to
got through
yeah, you have
it,
to
but
speed up and jump.
oh,
So it had like these man, like there's so much going on in this level for something that's relatively simple as like a left to right minecart ride. If you
yeah,
so if there's a there are like these, I don't know what you'd call them, but there were like obstacles on the thing. So you either had to be like raised or lowered depending on what type of obstacle was coming at you, because you could get hit if you're raised and you run into a wall, or if you're lowered and you run into a barrier or whatever they were. And then also you had to pay attention to these like traffic lights, where if it's green you have to be speeding forward, and if it's yellow or red or whatever you have to be slowing down, or else you'll hit an obstacle because you'll be going too fast.
yeah.
So there's a spot where you have to speed up, hit the jump, and then immediately like slow down and like raise and lower the minecart, like raise and lower, because it's like there's an
In a split
obstacle and then a
second.
wall. Yeah, it's like rear rear.
Yeah,
Like I remember the sound like haunts me. The up and down
yeah.
sound of the minecart was like rear rear rear. And I almost got it to where I
Do
could
you know what it?
do it based. I wasn't even looking at the screen. I just kind of memorized what I had to do, and the
Yeah,
interval
muscle
of
memory.
sound. It was like
Yeah,
it was more that than looking at the screen, because if you're relying on looking at the screen, it's coming so fast that it's you're done. Like you're gonna get hit.
no, no, you cannot react fast enough. So it kind of reminds me. You said about Donkey Kong, the mine
Yeah.
carts, and yes, I do agree. But it also has a little bit. Did you ever play Aladdin for the Genesis?
Oh, with the magic carpet.
The magic carpet.
It's been a
Yeah,
long time,
like
but I do have it on Switch, so we should talk about playing that at some point. That might be another fun
I
double
think I've
feature.
just
Actually,
double
mark
feature.
it down. We're gonna do both
Yeah,
Aladdins.
there you go. Because I've never played the SNES
I
one.
haven't either.
But yeah, it just has a little bit of that magic carpet, just those
Mhm.
split second up down decisions, and Jesus. And then once you're through that, you're rewarded with the rest of the mine,
Fuck.
which I would argue like is even harder. 'Cause
Yeah. I definitely I
it's
hit another wall on the second mine level.
some of those jumps that you have to make on moving platforms, by the way, which are incredibly precise. They
Yeah.
do not hang around. It's just absolutely ridiculous.
You have to jump, and a
And
lot of times like, and I kind of hate this, for especially for like licensed games that aren't as clean as like a Mario or something. Like you have to anticipate where something is going to be and be jumping for it before it gets there, so that it meets you, and then like because
yes,
it's gonna
100,
yeah,
100%.
those
Oh,
those carts like turn around and book it the other direction. Like how many times did I make the jump just a split second too late, and then you're jumping towards it and you're like, oh, I got this, and then it turns around and it just like comes right out from under you, like it starts moving the same
yeah.
direction as you're jumping, and you just lose it. Yeah.
See you later, fucker. Yeah, yeah. No, I agree. Incredibly frustrating. But once you are through the mine level, like I think you're pretty much golden.
Yeah, I mean there's the second jungle that we talked about, where you're having to log jump. And I think, man, yeah, you're pretty well. Like, definitely the mine is the hardest. You're not necessarily home free, because those the Taz-Tech ruins is the last world or set of levels until you get to the giant seabird nest. And that's, there's definitely a very specific way. It's very maze like, because there's a way that you can get through that level and then end up back, like they just put you back at the beginning. Yeah, there's a way to finish it where you don't really finish it. You just go back and play the level again. And I did that one time.
There are infinitely less pitfalls on that one, though.
Oh yeah,
which makes me love it a lot more. I mean, we've already discussed how you cheese through the jungle, so yeah. Once I got through the mines, I was pretty happy with the jungle. I mean, the ruins, yeah, I agree. I seem to remember there was somewhere I got stuck in the ruins and I couldn't go anywhere else, so I had to like reset or something.
You get soft locked in the ruins. And the ruins,
I think I did.
The ruins were another one where it was hard to tell where you could jump through and where you couldn't.
Yeah, that's true.
That definitely happened.
It's very, very maze-like. You were always happy to see that signpost at the end, and you're just like, oh, thank fuck for that.
Right. Oh, we got some beagle noise in the background. The only other thing I really have on Taz-Mania itself is the boss fights were just like, and maybe this is where some of the criticism of it being too easy was, but basically, like, if you're spinning, you're pretty much God.
You're
like
good.
you can just basically stun lock all, with the exception of maybe the truck. Hang on, I'm just gonna shut this door. He sees something, that's for sure.
Co-host there.
With the exception of the truck, which I think kind of just comes at you from, you can't take it head on because it's a truck and it's going to run you over. But pretty much every other boss, there's like this little treetop dude with a bow and arrow. There is a kind of like a ghost Taz. There's another boss somewhere, isn't there?
I feel like there is, but I'm struggling to remember what it was.
Not important. Basically, like any of the bosses, you can just stun lock and spin back and forth, and it's done.
I think there was a plant somewhere, a giant plant.
Yes, there is. Like right before. Yeah, like at the end of the jungle, like right before you get to the bird again, there's like a giant plant, and you can either like, which I don't understand, like why even have this, but you can pick up and give it like, it's called like no weed or something. It's like a weed killer.
Yeah.
And so the plant would eat that and get hurt, or you could just spin at it. Like, why even mess with that? So I feel like that was kind of a half-baked mechanic that they didn't really fully realize.
I feel like the bosses in this game are kind of a half-baked mechanic.
Yeah, it just spin,
it does
spin, spin,
kind of
spin.
feel like they were just kind of thrown in just because, oh well, I guess we need bosses. Sonic has bosses, so let's have bosses.
Yeah.
And
even the final boss, the bird, like I watched a playthrough a little bit because I was like, I'm never gonna finish these mine carts. I just kind of like checked out the end of the game, and I did end up finishing it. But like when I got to the bird, it looked way harder. Like I think the person who was playing it was either playing it on hard or making it look harder than it was. But it was like I just stood in one spot and you just kind of avoid the wings, and then you just hit its head, and you don't have to hit it from the top. You just spin.
No. Yeah. And I would argue, like, between that and the actual car at the start, like, those are the two legitimate boss
right,
fights,
yeah. Those
I
ones
think.
actually had some teeth. Like, and which is funny because it's like
Yeah.
the first boss of the game is probably one of the more challenging ones to time the jumps.
Yeah, absolutely. But,
I don't know. I got nothing else in this game.
Obviously. and you beat the bird, and you take the... And my question is, like, is this a game where you're playing as the villain?
You might be. I mean, you just took this bird's baby.
like there is nothing at stake here. Like you are told this story that this egg will feed a family for a year. Like the Tazes are not starving. Let's be honest. There is food everywhere in this game. You pick
Yeah.
it up as your health. Like Taz will eat anything. You can't tell me that his family won't do the same. Like you invade various different areas of this game, killing the indigenous peoples on your ravenous, slobbering quest to find this mythological creature and take its one spawn to feed your own like desires. And Taz is the
It would
villain
be like
of
in Pokemon.
Taz-Mania,
It's
I
like,
think.
oh, I found Articuno. I'm just going to kill it and take its egg and eat it. And
Yeah,
no one can have this.
absolutely. No, it's just like dick move,
Yeah.
Taz. Like fuck.
So let's.
Should have left. I should have left you in the
Yeah, I
mines.
know. No kidding. Here's what we should do, because this is kind of like we're wrapping up Taz-Mania, and we still got Taz Escape from Mars to get through.
Sure.
Should we take a pause here and give this our rating out of 10, and then move on to Taz-Mania or Taz Escape from Mars?
Fuck it. Let's do it.
All right. So
I'm into it.
what are you gonna give Taz-Mania out of 10?
I mean, it's a great looking game. Don't get me wrong. Like they took the license and they really like the sprites are nice and big. Everything's nice and detailed. Like it presents itself incredibly well. We didn't talk about the music in this game because, frankly, like the music kind of sounds fucking broken.
There's none. Yeah.
My overriding memory of the music in this game is just like, is there something wrong with the sound chip?
Yeah.
Because it's just bleeps and bloops and squelches and what have you, and it's just just kind of ugly.
I think they tried to mimic some of the kind of behind the background soundtrack of like a Looney Tunes cartoon, while kind of failing to realize that there's like nothing going on in the foreground. You're like just listening to music, and it's not good on its own.
It's just no, there is nothing that like gets lodged in your head here. I like that Taz plays as well as you expect Taz to play. He's got all of his moves. You can eat just about anything, for better or worse. Those fucking bombs.
Yeah, when you end up on one
And,
accidentally and he just like picks it up and eats it. Like, no, you dumbass.
yeah. It does have. I would consider it a fairly ridiculous difficulty spike.
Yeah.
Right there in the sort of last half. It's fine. It's a fine. If you know what you're doing, this is a half an hour long game.
Yeah, when I beat it, I think
it's
it was
not
under an hour, just based on having to take a few tries in the mines.
sure. I mean, if you like Taz, give it a go. But I think that they would go on to do better things. That may be a spoiler, but I'm going to give this I call it a 6.
Wow,
It's above average.
is it
It's above
really?
average.
I'm gonna give it a 5, and
Okay.
that was because I was having fun despite the jank. Like I did have a decent time. I didn't look up, I did look up a little bit of a playthrough towards the end, but like I didn't I think I had a good time, and it was rewarding to like figure out like the factory level was kind of clever, like how we said you had to flip those switches. I figured those things out, and there were a couple other levels where like I figured stuff out, and I was just like, hey, you know what? This isn't all bad.
Yeah.
It's just mostly bad, or maybe half bad.
Yeah.
Because I gave it a 5. It's half bad.
It is very janky.
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
But if you
it's
learn
not
to like exploit, here's the thing: you can have a janky game that's just bad and janky, and then you can have a game where it's bad and janky, but you can exploit the jank, and that's kind of what this falls under.
It's not unplayable.
Yeah, no, absolutely not
by any stretch.
Okay,
And it has charm. It has charm.
does. Yeah. And apparently Sega was like really into promoting this, so cool.
Big time.
Good on them.
All right, so that brings us to the next half of our Retrotopia double
That's
feature,
right.
Taz in Escape from Mars. And this one I did have a lot more experience with growing up, as we've discussed. So where do you want to start? I mean,
I,
Taz is I gotta just like Taz is kidnapped by Marvin the Martian. Right there, that gets at least an extra
oh,
point because I
absolutely.
love Marvin
Me
the
too. I was
Martian.
just like,
Like,
yeah, having, even though he's not playable or whatever, just having Marvin be the main antagonist here is just no notes.
genius, genius. I love that little bastard. And there you go. I mean, story wise, Taz like has been kidnapped by Marvin, who's decided I would like. He's kind of like the collector, I suppose, from Marvel. He's just like, I want all of these different
Yeah.
animals from all of these different planets in my
He's
zoo.
got a,
It's just
it's a
like
menagerie.
I'm on board.
That's the like, yeah, that's the
Menagerie.
$10 word for that.
There you go. There you go. And it's like I'm on board. Like this story makes sense
Absolutely.
right from the hop.
And I love the,
Um,
there's like kind of cutscenes in between where it's showing like every world you go to, it gives you a little title card to announce where you're going, and then it shows like a little UFO passing over, and they're dropping the crate that has Taz in it down onto the world. Like the pixel art is just gorgeous looking. It's awesome.
oh yeah, yeah. For as good as Taz-Mania looked, like this game really steps it up in terms of visuals. Not just with the sprites, but the backgrounds as
Oh,
well
yeah.
are pretty damn incredible.
Yeah, like I almost want to I will full like, not even gonna hide that this game is awesome. Like I love this game. There's a couple parts I'm not a huge fan of, but otherwise, like the look, you know the sound is fine. Like just, but that pixel graphics is just, oh, it's really weird that, if I'm thinking about it, like this might be up there as far as graphical presentation on a 16-bit console. Like you got to throw this one in there. I mean, it just is like, it's not like, Chrono Trigger, Taz Escape from Mars. Like we're not throwing it up there, but like, man, it is good looking.
No, but considering what it's trying to do is emulate an animated feature.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah, it does it perfectly. Like this looks like a cartoon.
Yeah, because they did shade, like it's got shading and depth, and just like, man, just looks good.
Yeah, and the level design as a whole, like the fact that you have all of these different, not just worlds, planets.
Yeah.
And what to draw from. It's just like they really went above and beyond with just the weirdness.
Yeah.
Of how this game looks. Like it's infinitely more creative.
Yeah, they pulled a lot from the cartoons, which was great too, because they really didn't pull very much from, unless it's like pulled out of that Taz-Mania show that I didn't watch very much. Like that giant like green bird thing. That's on the first level is Mars, which is like kind of like, oh, we're at Mars already. Like, shouldn't we build up to that? But no, it's like Marvin takes Taz and drops him into a zoo, and then Taz basically escapes from Escape from Mars, interestingly enough, happens like after the first level. And then the rest of it is just like Taz bouncing around trying to get home. And you end up in all these wacky places.
I do have a bit of confusion about the not the level layout, but the level placement in this game. Because you start off on Mars and it looks great. It looks like it does in the cartoons.
Yeah, those like weird platforms, like walkways and stuff. Like Marvin's. I was always fascinated by, like, I loved when Looney Tunes would come on and there'd be a Marvin episode.
Oh, I just love that guy. And Taz can bust through walls this time. He can use his spin to bounce between walls to go higher, which I loved.
Yeah, there's more power-ups too. There's they only use it a couple times, but there's on Mars there's a shrink ray, and you get like little tiny Taz.
Yep.
And that's a lot of fun. So you have to watch out, because just like when Mario shrinks, like I'm talking like in the new Super Mario Brothers, where you get that like that little tiny blue mushroom, and he's like really teeny tiny. Yeah, it's like a one hit kill. But like, yeah, when you're little tiny Taz, your little spin attack doesn't really do anything but make you go faster, and you get hurt by everything. But you're tiny, and it's funny. And then likewise, there's an enlarging ray, and then you're like giant Taz, and it only happens once in the game, but it's a pretty hard to miss part of one of the first levels, and you just walk through everything.
It actually happens twice in the game, which tells me how far.
Oh yeah, no, I did not. Yeah, then I didn't get to the last 2 levels, so then it's somewhere in the end.
Yeah, and it's just so much more variation, right?
Yeah, there's a lot. There's like, you can breathe fire, and you can do that in Taz-Mania, but then there's also a box of rocks, which is pretty funny. You just like swallows a box of rocks, and you get like a little projectile.
Like, did you use that?
Yeah, I did, because in that mole world, there is like a hopping spiked whatever apparatus. Like one of the enemies you can't kill without using the.
Oh yeah.
But I did sometimes too, because sometimes it was like the spin in this game. This is a criticism, but I guess also kind of, I think it's more of a feature than a problem. When you use the spin attack, there's quite a bit of knockback. So sometimes if I didn't feel like dealing with that, then I would use the box of rocks or the fire breath.
Yeah, that's fair. And you have to use the fire breath for like the haunted castle later on.
Mm-hmm.
There are enemies you can only kill with the fire breath. So, I like that they mixed up the way that you can attack. It kind of nerfed the spin at the same time. Like that is not your go-to for everything. So some of these enemies you're gonna have to think around.
Yeah,
which is nice.
And it took away the jumping on an enemy thing. You can't jump on anything to kill it in this game like you could in the previous one. They took that away completely, which is, I guess it's fine. It really does change the, if you got something coming, there are some flying enemies and there's some stuff that, either bounces or whatever. You really got to think about how you approach them if you can't jump over them and land on them. And also like in Taz-Mania, to go back to Taz-Mania quick, like sometimes you could get yourself like a little bit of a launch off of an enemy if you jumped on them, and then it could help you clear some platforms. Like this doesn't have that at all. Oh
no, you're literally just bouncing back.
And speaking of the spin, I can't believe we didn't mention, like, using the spin helps you traverse the levels, because if there is kind of like a little bit of a curve on the wall, you can spin up the wall and around. Like that was awesome. It's like they took notes from Sonic. Like if Sonic is spinning, he can do loop-de-loops and stuff. And if Taz, like, you can like go up and around stuff.
I love that in Escape from Mars, because large parts of like the Mars level are just on the pipes that you have to spin around, and it's like he will glue to that surface as long as he's spinning. Right. And what a cool feature.
The little steam jets I could do without, though. Like that was like the one thing that like, you can run, but we're going to tie your shoes together.
Yeah. Well, which okay, I guess.
Yeah.
Like way to kill my fun, but all right.
Yeah. But I did also
it's still a game.
Huh? Oh, sorry.
It's still a game. You have to challenge me.
Yeah, you do have to throw some challenge in there. But I also did like how if there were 2 walls that were close enough together, he had a bit of like a wall jump with the spinning. So you'd like, if you were spinning, you would just like bounce back and forth on the wall and go up.
I love
that. Was kind of cool too. And there were actually spots, like I found a couple spots in the game where you could kind of cheese that, where I don't think they really necessarily intended for you to use it in that spot, but I found a couple spots where like there was just enough space, for you to bounce back and forth.
Yeah, as long as you just get a little bit higher each time, you can make your way up.
Yeah. And usually you have to like sit there for a while he bounces back and forth and makes like no progress. But like you could tell he's making his way up there. You just hang on.
So Sam, you sound really happy right now. Do you want to talk about Mole World?
Oh God, yeah. Actually, like Mole World is where you'll probably hit your first snag because there's that level. The first level is fine, and that introduces another mechanic with the spin that was pretty cool. Where if there was dirt, you could dig down into the dirt, and then you could just kind of like
Yeah.
direct Taz around in all four directions, and that was kind of cool. Except I didn't realize, and it was hard too because I couldn't get the timing right, and this again might be because of my controller. And this is where in this game the Mega Fire controller came in handy because on the second Mole World level, there's like what do they call that? Like a wall of death or whatever that's behind you. Like basically that's
Oh
the
yeah.
mechanic. I mean it's in Kid Chameleon in that level. Yeah,
Oh, that's what it was.
yeah. You're trying to think of the other one that's like that.
I knew I played something
Yes.
recently, and I was gonna bring it up, but there was something I played recently that had this wall of death
Yeah.
mechanic, and I have to say, like, fuck the wall
Yo,
of
I
death
hate that
in
shit.
any game.
Yeah.
In
It's in the
any game.
messenger too.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, but like this one's not so bad because in the beginning of that level, there's like a little ledge where there's a life. So you basically, if you play your cards right, you get an extra life like every time. So you basically have infinite tries to work through this, and I thought that was a nice touch. Like, yeah, it's frustrating, but at least you're not losing any ground as long as you run up and grab that very easy to find life.
Sure. And again, going back to Tasmania, is that the same thing as the arrows in the factory level?
Mm-hmm.
Like, was somebody
Yeah.
playing this level and just thinking, "Fuck, this is nobody's going to get past this if we don't just give them that little bit of incentive because it's very much a trial and error
Yeah.
part of the
Because
game."
there's dead ends. There's dead ends where you can't get
Yeah.
back down, and the wall will catch you no matter what. Yeah, which sucks, but
And it's
once you pick your way through.
I think yeah, once you know where you're going, it's fine. And it's just like one of the mechanics with these wall of deaths is just it doesn't matter how far ahead of it that you get, it's always just that little bit behind you. Like
Yeah.
it always just jumps to wherever you are, and that can really fuck you.
Yeah, I think it does like keep like a certain distance behind you because I would be like, "Oh man, I'm like I'd have a run where I was obviously you get hit with stuff because there's just shit all over the place to get hit with. There's bombs, like you go land on a platform and there's a bomb there and he eats a bomb and blows up or whatever. Or there like you jump
Oh
down and
yeah,
there's a mole down there or something like there's stuff everywhere to like hurt you. There's spikes and drills and stuff. But where was I going with that? Oh yeah, like I'd be having like a good run where I'm like I'm not getting hit, like I'm way ahead, whatever. And then if the first snag I hit, you can hear that thing behind you, and it's just like it doesn't matter how fast I go, like you just have to do it perfect enough or good enough so that you can stay enough ahead of it that it's not going to catch you because eventually it is going to at least appear on the screen. I don't think I ever got to the exit on that level without it at least being like pretty damn close.
good old fashioned rubber banding.
Yeah, and the other thing, there's like a spot because so right before you get to the end, you have to drill like up, and then you have to go you can go up or you can go left or right. I mean, and if you go right, then you end up in a spot where you're at the exit. But if you go up, there is a continue. And if you go to get the continue, you'll definitely die because there isn't enough time to like basically when he picks up items, he picks it up and he eats it. So there's like this whole animation, right? It's kind of slow, right?
Yeah.
So he eats the continue, you pretty much die automatically. But you do get that life at the beginning of the level. So there is a way in the second Mole World level to spam continues. Like if you want to build up continues, take that fork, get the continue. You have to play the level again, but if you do it a couple times and you want to save up for some of the harder levels later, this is a spot where
And they're coming.
Yeah, this is a spot where you can pause and spam for continues.
I did not know that. That's fucking genius.
I did not take advantage of it because I didn't feel like it, but it's there if you want it.
Yeah. Well done, Sam.
There we go. Pro tip.
So, Mo World.
Oh, we didn't even
Is
talk
a
about the
fuck.
bosses yet. Like, there's so much to this game. Like, the bosses are incredible. That first one.
Oh, they have been upgraded.
Yeah, the first one, like, you have to spin around the screen to avoid, like, a tentacle that's swinging around. And, I mean, it was so satisfying to, like, get the timing down. And basically, like, I was to the point where I could beat the first boss with my eyes closed. But it was like, this is a cool boss. And then
it looked great.
Yeah,
like some big snail elephant thing.
Yeah, the Mole World one is like this driller that's coming down, and you're like on these platforms. You can kind of like fall infinitely, and then there's like different configurations of platforms you can be on, so you can kind of pick what your platform configuration is to avoid these bombs that drop.
Yeah.
And then it kind of drops this like weird whip thing, which I'll be honest, I let that thing hit me.
Yeah, because generally speaking, you can, as long as you've got full health, like you will kill it before it kills you.
Right.
And there is a way to sort of bounce on top of it,
Right.
so you can avoid the whip. But then he electrifies the top of the
Yeah,
ship,
it's just
and
kind
it's
of
just
annoying.
The whole
It's
thing.
just like, yeah, just get whipped.
I get what you're supposed to do. It's just easier to just take the hit,
Yeah,
and just dish one out in return. As long as you can actually make that attack, you're pretty good.
right. So that was a decent boss. And then like after Mole World, there was what was after Mole World? I don't have the manual to this.
Planet
This one I got
X.
loose. So like I also played this on original hardware, but I didn't have the book and the box and everything.
So next up is Planet X.
Oh yeah.
And that's there was a lot of like moving water and platform like this. I didn't love this level.
No, because I generally like. There's a couple of Sonic levels like this too that I don't usually enjoy, where it's like sliding water that you can't really control, and then it's like just an infinite loop of sliding down until you jump in the right platform, and it can be hard to time. But this is one where, I mean, there's not much to say about this one. It's basically like a couple levels full of this waterfall bullshit. But this is the spot where I was talking about where I cheesed it a little bit and found a spot where the walls weren't quite far enough apart. Like you could kind of bounce back and forth, and that was what saved me on this one.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, no, I just, and I don't mind some of those water levels. I mean, I feel like Sam, maybe you're not a fan of Oil Ocean Zone in Sonic 2. Is that the vibe that I'm getting?
Yeah, Oil Ocean, and there's another fucking Sonic and Knuckles with that pyramid.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
It's just, having been through Mars already, Planet X just kind of feels a bit like more of the same. It's just more annoying.
Yeah, but that's definitely like a, like a trope in Looney Tunes, like that Planet X, like definitely was an environment in a Looney Tunes cartoon. I feel like you go to Planet X and everything's kind of weird, and I almost got like Ren and Stimpy vibes from some of that Planet X stuff.
Oh, big time. Yeah. And the boss as well pisses me off. Like, it's not difficult, but any boss, because it's the centipede thing.
Oh, yeah.
I think you got to hit any boss that reminds me of fucking Moldorm from The Legend of Zelda.
It did, yeah.
Can go
for sure.
fuck itself.
At least it didn't knock you down and then make you start over again.
Oh
my god, I can't stand that boss from Link to the Past.
Fucking guy.
Oh, when that was in Link Between Worlds, I almost just was like, well, I'm done. I don't want to. But he wasn't so bad in Link Between Worlds, I'll say.
That's true.
Yeah, that was another one where like I just had to play it enough times to, I was very selective on the time that I would actually attack it. Because this one I did kind of watch a playthrough, and the person that played it was just like, of course, like the people that put up Let's Plays in general are like experts at these games. So like it's like flinging around in the middle of the screen, and they're just like expertly jumping and timing their spin to hit it in the back and stuff. It's okay. So what I did is I only would attack it when it came from the left. It did this thing where it came from the left side of the screen, and then I could, as it was coming out, I could tool all the way around the screen with Taz's spin, because you could like do a loop all the way around the screen while it was doing its like loop in the center, and then it would uncoil and go down to the bottom right, and just before it, like cleared the bottom right, I would do my spin and go around again and usually hit its tail. But that was the only time I would attack it. Otherwise, like, I'm just avoiding it like the plague.
You see, you're a lot smarter than I am. Fuck. Like,
I have to like come up with these strategies because I'm not like naturally good enough to.
I just span and prayed. That was my technique, And I think I literally like beat that boss with like the smallest amount of health left.
Yeah, I'd still get hit a couple times because I would like goof up. Like one of the times trying to avoid it, it would just kind of like I'd end up in the wrong spot and just be like, "Oh, damn it." Yeah. But that was another one where it was like once I figured out the trick to it, it was like, okay, so there came a point where if I turned the game on, I could reasonably expect to get all the way to the next level, which is Mexico, I believe, after Planet X, right?
That's it.
Which is really fucking weird because like if you're in Mexico, didn't you escape from Mars? Like you did it, buddy.
Oh my god. Okay, so like where I was saying earlier about I have confusions about the levels on this game. You've just fucking hit the nail on the head.
Why would you leave Mexico?
Close enough.
Yeah. You're on the right planet finally.
And I was looking at the blurb for this game, and it's just like, Taz is kidnapped. He's taken to Mars. Like he escapes from Mars. He gets back to Earth, and then he goes back to Mars.
Right?
It's like why?
Maybe he just
it's like you've.
Maybe at that point he's just like, I'm gonna go after this Marvin fucker and mess his shit up. Like,
I guess like we've already established that Taz is not the smartest. Like
right.
The smartest Taz-Manian devil, but fuck me, it's just like
I feel like they did Mexico
Mars,
or
planet,
like
planet
that desert theme because they needed a way to work in Yosemite Sam, who makes an appearance. I'd call it more of a cameo because it starts off with a wagon train, and that level is actually fairly easy. You're just jumping from cow to cow. Yeah. It's kind of similar to the log raft, except it doesn't have any depth to it. You're just going left to right, which is pretty nice. But yeah, if you slow down at all or you linger on any of the stagecoaches or any of the cattle or whatever, Yosemite Sam will ride up and be shooting his little 6-shooters.
As he does.
Right. Yeah, that one was pretty unremarkable. But there is after that was what I thought it was kind of a difficult level, and this is kind of towards where I kind of threw in the towel at this point. But the Mexico level, while it wasn't necessarily as frustrating in some ways as the river on Planet X, it just like, man, there was a lot of bullshit out there to trip you up.
Oh, the bees, the fucking bees.
Yes. Like there were pots and if you're even just a little bit indiscriminate with your spinning, you're going to hit one of these pots and get attacked by bees. But then in between all of the pots, there's like little guys like running around trying to get you. And like, you have to,
which you want to attack.
Right.
But by and large, you're going to get knocked back, hit a bee.
Yep.
And
And then you're going to land on a bomb. And then he's going to eat the bomb.
And then you're going to eat the bomb. And then you're going to blow up. And it's a whole thing. But, I quite liked the Mexico level. It was... Again, it's another one of those sort of Looney Tunes tropes of just ending up in Mexico for some reason.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's clever. Like you basically like this level had like kind of two planes to it where you're in the foreground, you're outside, and then there were like almost like I'd call them tunnels where you would go into a door and then you could kind of like go behind the walls and then come out on the other end. And that was the way to like pass through solid walls, basically. Like it was kind of a maze that way where you had to figure out, okay, I can go in this door and then I'm behind the scene and I need to try to figure out how to get to the next door to come out the other end, and it was fine.
And again, absolutely no indication that you can go inside of these doors. So it is quite satisfying when you figure it out.
Yeah, I wonder if it was in the manual, but like, I think I just kind of, it was almost like I just kind of tried it because there was nothing else to do. It's like, well, I'm in this section of the level and I can't really go anywhere else, so I might as well try to press up by one of these doors. And I was like, oh, well, what do you know? But otherwise,
Yeah,
like,
there
it
you
doesn't
go.
appear anywhere else in the game. You wouldn't necessarily know that.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And then of course you've got the bullfight.
Yeah, this is where I really threw in the towel. This bull sucks.
It does suck. Like the timing, the basic idea of this is that you have to somehow let it chase you, jump at the last second, and let it run directly into the wall of the arena.
Mm-hmm.
And if that sounds easy, it's not.
No, because it's not as
Because
simple
you,
as that. Like what you're thinking is probably going to happen is you're going to spin, stop right before the wall, and then like let him run towards you and just jump up and over him. But if you do that, he stops short of the wall. So what you
absolutely,
have to
like
be
you
doing
have to
is you
be.
have to jump while you're still heading towards the wall and then bounce off of it. And it's very tough to time.
Oh yeah, he has to be literally just a hair's breadth behind you
Right.
when you jump, and like he would just carry on going. But yeah, like you said, like because for the longest time I was just standing in front of this wall watching him run towards me, and there's just jumping over him. I'm just like, what the fuck am I doing wrong?
Right. And sometimes I
But
would time it right and he'd hit the wall, but he'd also hit me. So it's like, is it another one of those things where if you kind of sort of have the timing right, you can just kind of count on taking a little bit of damage and still coming out on top? Or, if he gets under, like, basically if he gets behind your, or like under your guard at all and hits you in the open anywhere, like, you're kind of fucked. Like, he's going to gain a massive amount of ground on you. And the other thing that bothered me was I think I had a run at him at least one time where I got him injured like 3 times, like he hit the wall. It's like, are you mean to tell me this thing needs to hit the wall like 5 times? Like, why can't it be one of those like rule of 3, like 3 jumps on this thing and it's done or whatever? Like, that would have been fine and that would have been hard enough. But they're like, no, he's got to hit the wall like 5 or 6 times. Like, go fuck yourself. Like, why would you do that?
Yeah, and it's just, like, come on, like 3's enough for a sizable concussion. Let's just call this a day.
Right. So this is where I tap out, and I think I watched at least a good amount of the last 2 levels on a playthrough. But you finished it.
I did.
Yeah,
I did, and I'm not gonna because we're already pushing for time here. I'm not gonna go into too much detail. I mean, you got the haunted castle next, which again is fine.
this looks cool though.
A lot of bullshit. It does. It looks great. It looks fantastic. Again, not sure why he's gone from Mexico to a haunted castle. Just go home. Just go home. But yeah, it's very spooky. There's lots of moving bricks that come out of the wall for you to platform on, and it's tricky, but very, very manageable. But what I really liked about the haunted castle was the boss of this level.
Yeah.
I thought this was easily the cleverest boss in the game, because you make it to the secret lab, and I don't know what this thing is called. It's basically the big red hairy thing.
I think that might actually just be what it's called.
Yeah, I'd buy that. But if you've watched Looney Tunes, it's just basically just this walking brick wall of fur, and that's what you've got to fight
With like basketball shoes on.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, his name is Gossamer.
With the Converse. Is it?
Yeah,
okay.
Gossamer. Yep.
How about that? Okay.
And that is also one of my favorite Looney Tunes shorts, where Bugs is stuck in the castle with Gossamer.
Oh, you know what? I've not seen that in years.
That is a great episode. Raising hair, hair. That's what it's called.
I'm gonna have to track that down later and watch that.
Jesus Christ, that Looney Tunes short is 78 years old.
No.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
No. I'm serious. It premiered on May 25th, 1946.
That's crazy.
God,
Jesus, we're all just getting
we've come a
old.
long way.
Yeah, but rarely bettered.
Right, right.
But yeah, so you have to fight this Gossamer, and you think your spinner's been serving you well so far. You might think that that's what you need to do, but no. Inside the lab, there are two chairs with levers on them, and what you've got to do is knock this Gossamer into one of the chairs, so he gets locked into it. Go over to the other chair, jump on it yourself, throw the switch, and then you switch minds or switch bodies with Gossamer, and then you can use him to jump and punch the lab machinery and basically beat the level. And I just think that's
Yeah, that's
genius.
really
Like
cool.
that is so cool because you could waste I don't know how much time just battering this thing and just getting nowhere. But that they added this little twist where and it's the chairs and the levers, it's all very obviously there. It's not hidden at all. And I just love it. I just think that's so cool that you have to like think outside the box
Yeah, and
in
outside
order
of
to win.
Taz,
And
because you have to
outside,
occupy
yeah,
Gossamer. Yeah, it's cool. It's like it's pretty apparent what you have to do. I did watch this one where it's like there's two chairs. It's like very. I mean, I think there is actually a Looney Tunes short where they zap zap your conscience into another you know body by sitting like all those mad scientist lab ones with like electric
yeah,
chair looking apparatus and weird electricity and beakers and stuff. Yeah, it's got that feel. It's really cool.
yeah, yeah. And I genuinely like my favorite boss out of both games, hands down.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I like that.
And then of course you go back to Marvin's house for some fucking
Yeah,
reason.
like in depending on where this haunted castle is, I'm assuming somewhere in Transylvania because it's a cartoon. Um,
Yeah,
you're arguably geographically closer to Taz's home than you were even in Mexico. And again, why would you leave?
no. Taz decides he's got a score to settle. So
He's a vindictive bitch. He
it's
wants to
now
go back and be like,
yeah. So now we're playing Taz Return to Mars, and this Marvin's house level can eat every square inch of my ass because it is the biggest amount of cheap bounce back damage bullshit that I have played in either of these games. And oh, like I was getting because at this point, you're right near the end of the game. You're aware of how few lives you've got left, and I think I got through this literally on my last continue last life. So I was sweating.
oh yeah, right by the skin of your teeth, hey.
Oh, and I think had I died here, I might have given up.
Right,
But
yeah.
there are just enemies everywhere. There's a section, one whole part of this level, you have to work your way through basically a maze, and gravity you can change so you can be up the side, on the ceiling, and you're looking for these generators that power these lasers around the level, and you have to do them in a specific order to go find other generators to turn off 4 of these lasers to get to the exit, which is literally right next to where you start.
Oh.
And it is the hugest amount of bullshit. Um, just oh
You know what? One thing I will say about this game, just in general, and actually this applies to Taz-Mania too, there was no enemy regeneration.
no,
If you,
which is
yeah, if
nice.
you
I'll
killed
give
an
it that.
enemy, like you don't, it's not like you're gonna fall down and come back up and it's gonna be there again to ruin your day. So I guess that's nice. Like if this level has, and it sounds like it might have a fair amount of backtracking if you have to go back to where you started. At least if you've killed enemies,
Loads.
then you don't have much to worry about.
I mean, you've still got the many level hazards around, but at least you don't have to deal with them again. And then you go and fight Marvin in this giant Marvin machine, who's actually really, really easy to beat.
Okay, yeah, it kind of looked like that to me, but I couldn't tell like if it just the person playing it was making it look easy or if it actually was, because it looked like you could just platform off of its legs and then just jump up and
That's right.
hit it with a spin move.
Yeah. And that's it. Do that a few times and you've beaten the game.
Yeah.
Taz hijacks a spaceship and flies back to Tasmania. And that's it.
Actually,
Job
like,
done.
there's something to be said for um, a game where the final boss isn't just like terrible. You know what I mean? Like, I think this is going way back, and I think we released this episode. We played, Brian and I played Shadow of the Ninja, and it was like the game only has like 4 levels, but the last one is just so difficult. And I think I even maybe got to the final boss. I can't remember, but like that final boss is just like moving so fast that, like, what's the point at that point? Like, why make it so difficult right at the end if the rest of the game is reasonable? So I commend them for at least not having the final boss be like just completely shitty after you've frayed your nerves on this level.
Honestly, yeah, I just consider the last level of the game to be the final boss because
Right.
that's where all the difficulty
Yeah.
lies. Like Marvin is kind of on brand for Marvin because he is kind of useless.
He is pretty
Like, he's more of a
incompetent. He's
danger
got
to
all this
himself than
technology,
anything.
but still, he's just like, oh no. Yes. Yeah. Do I have the Marvin voice? Or should I apply for a job with All right. Yeah, so Marvin's pretty useless. He's which we were talking about is on brand. Sorry, we had some quick technical difficulties, but we're back. So, yeah, we're getting ready to wrap up here, and Alan, you made it to Marvin. He was pretty much a pushover.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Just which again I really appreciated, given the fact that everything that I'd got up to at that point. If that boss, I tell you what, if that boss had fucking killed me, that would have been it. Yeah, we'd be done.
Yeah, kudos to the developers of the game for probably not intentionally, but making a boss that was not too unreasonable.
Yeah.
And I would say probably the toughest boss in the game is the bull.
I think so. I think that's fair.
Maybe followed by that worm, but if you kind of know the pattern, you can get through that one. But yeah, Marvin, predictably useless. The kind of guy that opens a box and realizes there's a bomb in it.
Yep.
Like, gets a box, it says to Marvin. He's like, oh, for me? And it's like, that's basically Marvin's MO.
I love it. Can we have a little bit more? Come on.
Oh, of course. It kind of sounds like if you have ever seen the show Superstore, it's kind of like a Glenn voice.
I have not, but I'll take your word for it.
That's a good show too.
Yeah. Great looking game. I think infinitely more playable than the first one. Again, to touch on music, there's not much to talk about here, but I do think it sounds a lot better. It's a lot more cohesive.
Yeah, it doesn't try something that it's not going to succeed at, I guess.
Yeah. It's just overall, I just think it's just a huge improvement on the first one. Just like,
yeah. Like, I haven't beaten it. I would dread fighting the bull again, but maybe if it's one of those things where I think if I give it enough tries, I could maybe get that or just get lucky at some point and get through it. But man, what a game. Like, definitely a game that I would play again. I would play either of these games again, but this is the one that I would probably go to first just because there's more. It looks better. It plays better. There's more mechanics to it. Like, they do so much interesting stuff with the spin. I mean, we didn't even talk about that level of Planet X where you pick up like an umbrella or whatever, and then you spin, and it's like a floating Flappy Bird type level. I really enjoyed that one too.
That was neat. That was a good use.
That might have been my favorite level in the game.
That is a good use of an established dynamic. Just twisting it up ever so slightly just to make it a bit different. Yeah. Good shout.
It's good. Like, just what would you give this game out of 10? Because this is going to be like it's a long episode because we talked about 2 games. So I think this is kind of, we're setting the bar for what you can expect from a double feature episode. We're gonna talk about Um, we're going to talk about 2 games, and we're going to give them their full due.
Yeah,
So,
of course.
what would you give Escape from Mars out of a 10?
I mean,
What are your final thoughts here?
all of the positives that I had for Taz-Mania are here. I would say that this looks a lot better. Obviously, a lot more time and attention has gone into the detail, which, it just really shines through. I think if I had to sum up the difference between these 2 games, Taz-Mania, they tried to make a Taz game. Escape from Mars, they tried to make a Looney Tunes game, and it shows. There's just so much. There's
Yeah.
so much more of that Looney Tunes DNA in Escape from Mars that it really it taps into that nostalgia so much more than the first one. And again, sound is fine. It's so much more playable. And it has that nostalgia bump going for it because this is the one that I have the most experience with. So I don't know,
Yeah.
shit. If I've got to score it, do you know what? I was gonna say a 7, but I think it's charmed me up to a 7.5.
That's exactly where I was going to land.
Yeah.
And this is maybe bad podcasting, but we're going to agree here. It's getting a 7.5 for me. It's one of those where like it's definitely above average,
Yeah.
especially for like a licensed game from the time, like far above average. It's good and it's beautiful. It looks good. It plays well. The bosses are innovative and challenging. The bull can fuck off, but that's another story. The environments are cool. Like, even if it doesn't make sense, again, like I guess both games, like really in Taz character, like he just bounces everywhere before he gets to where he's supposed to go. So I guess that's on brand. Like he bounced around Taz-Mania in the first game and he bounced around the galaxy on the second one. So,
Yep.
yeah, that's a 7.5. I definitely would. This is in my collection, and I'm gonna hang on to it and play it again at some point.
Yeah. Oh, I love
When
having.
I'm,
love having this game on the shelf.
Yeah, definitely like a Saturday, Sunday afternoon. Kind of between stuff. Yeah, I'll take a run at Taz. Like this is the perfect game for that.
Brilliant. Just like a cartoon. Just chuck it on.
Absolutely.
Just chuck it on
I
for
love
a laugh.
cartoons.
I love cartoons as well. I don't watch enough
man.
cartoons. Ah,
You should watch more.
I should watch more. And if
Yeah. So what do we got next? Do we even have a plan? I don't know.
Divine, do we ever?
I think Brian's got something that he's working on that we'll kind of leave under wraps and let him surprise you with it.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've got a
I know that we've
got a bunch of games in the works. We just don't know which one. Whatever one we complete first, we'll talk about next.
Well, I know that we've all played Link Between Worlds, so we could probably spark that up at some point. And I'm playing Final Fantasy IV, and we're gonna have Fire Emblem coming up at some point.
Yeah.
So we got some really good stuff in the pipeline, and we're always looking for kind of the quick, not easy because they're usually hard, but the quicker pick up and play games to review too. So this was fun though. I think we should definitely try to expand this double feature. If we got time to do a bit of a longer episode, I like these double features and knocking out these games that are kind of a pair like these or like the Aladdins or games that had different versions, like actually playing both versions and talking about them.
I could get on board with that.
That was a good time.
That was a good time. And if the people listening, if they want to let us know what they thought of our double feature, if they'd like to hear some more, where can they let us know, Sam?
Oh, you should come and join us on our Discord, over on Patreon, which is free to join, but you can also give us a little coin and get some extra features. So there's that. We're always on there chatting with people in the Discord. So linktr.ee/Retrotopia, where you can find links to everything and social medias and all that kind of stuff.
Awesome. Well, thanks for doing this, Sam. This has been a lot of fun.
Yeah, this has been a great one.
Absolutely. And to everyone who's listening, get home safe and then don't go back to Mars for fuck's sake.